red rust on the moon, red heifers in Israel, and a red horse that is preparing to ride. Michael Snyder reports, what does the color red mean to you? Today I was thinking about several recent news stories that are related to Bible prophecy, and I realized that they all had something to do with the color red. So I asked Google what the color red symbolizes, and I was sent to a Wikipedia article that explains that red is the color of blood, quote unquote, and that it has historically been associated with sacrifice, danger, and courage. In addition, the color red is often used to convey some sort of warning. Just imagine what it would be like if all stop signs were colored yellow. That would not work nearly as well. The reason why stop signs are red is because the color red gets your attention. And recently, one of my friends shared a story with me that really got my attention. According to NASA, large numbers of amounts of red rust have been discovered on the surface of the moon. While our moon is airless, research indicates the presence of hematite, a form of rust that normally requires oxygen and water, that has scientists puzzled. Mars has long been known for its rust. Iron on its surface, combined with water and oxygen from the ancient past, give the red planet its red color. But scientists were recently surprised to find evidence that our airless moon has rust on it as well. This completely shocked the scientists that discovered it. The following comes from CNN. At first, I totally didn't believe it. It should not exist based on the conditions present on the moon, said Abigail Freeman, a scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, in a press release. Not only is there no air on the moon, but it is flooded with hydrogen that flows from the sun, carried by solar wind. Rust is produced when oxygen removes electrons from iron. Hydrogen does the opposite by adding electrons, which means it's all the harder for rust to form on the hydrogen-rich moon. It's very puzzling, said Shuai Lee of University of Hawaii, the lead author of the study, which was published on Wednesday in the journal Science Advances. The moon is a terrible environment for hematite to form in. Will the moon eventually appear red in the sky just like the planet Mars does? I don't know. But in recent days, lots of people have been buzzing about this on social media. Meanwhile, there's a tremendous amount of speculation that a red heifer ceremony could soon be conducted in Israel. In September 2022, I wrote about 5 red heifers that had been transported to the land of Israel from the state of Texas. Those red heifers are still alive, and early this month, CBS News published a story about them. And when Hamas spokesman Abu Abaida began a speech marking the 100th day of the war in Gaza, one confounding yet eye-opening proclamation escaped the headlines, listing the motives for the Palestinian militant group October 7 in Israel. He accused the Hebrews of bringing red cows to the Holy Land. The cows he was talking about are the red heifers, which have grazed at a secure, undisclosed location in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Some Jews and Christians believe they're key to rebuilding the third temple that once stood in Jerusalem, and the temple has stood there and in Jerusalem to beckoning of the Messiah. A man named Yitzhak Mamo has been heavily involved in the Red Heifer project, and he told CBS News that these red heifers are being closely watched to see if they develop any white or black heirs. Instrumental in bringing the heifers to the Holy Land was Yitzhak Mamo of Yune Israel Jerusalem, a group committed to seeing a new temple built in Jerusalem's old city. You can check to see if they have any white or black hairs, he told CBS News, explaining that any hair that is not red would disqualify the cows from fulfilling their prophesied role. There have been reports that one of the original 5 red heifers have been disqualified already, but that the other 4 are still perfect. So, will one of those remaining 4 heifers soon be sacrificed? They need to be used before they are too old, and so the clock is ticking. And it has been reported that a practice run of the purification ceremony was conducted last year. Just 2 weeks ago, near the site of biblical Shiloh, where the tabernacle was kept during the time of the judges, a group of Jews descended from the tribe of Levi and priestly families enacted a practice run for the purification ceremony. The event occurred at the site called Ancient Shiloh, affiliated with the Temple Institute, and contained explanations of the priestly functions, including sacrifice. The event also featured a temple banquet containing foods from the Second Temple and biblical periods. The highlight of the event was the presentation of one of the 5 red heifers. And there have been ramblings that an official purification ceremony would be conducted at some point this year. When asked about this by CBS News, Mamo indicated that one may happen soon. Back in the settlement in the West Bank, Mamo told CBS News the Heifers need only pass a final purity test. The ceremony that he hopes will resurrect the temple and usher in the Messiah could take place any day. He said he understands why Hamas could be outraged. We shall see. If it does happen, it could cause tensions in the region to escalate greatly. Of course, the truth is that the Middle East is already on the brink of all-out war. According to Zero Hedge, Israel has been feverishly making preparations for an invasion of southern Lebanon. So there could be much death and destruction in the Middle East during all this. The US and Russia are rapidly approaching a point of no return as well. And this week, Vladimir Putin warned that his nation is ready for nuclear conflict as well. Putin today declared his readiness for nuclear war should the US deploy troops to Ukraine as Moscow's fight against Kiev rages on. Now, as I detailed in my latest book, the Russians have developed extremely impressive weapon systems that the US cannot match. We're so close to the unthinkable, but most Americans are completely and utterly clueless about what is really going on. Most of them assume that our leaders have everything under control and that there's no risk of nuclear war. But over in Russia, there is constant talk about the possibility of nuclear war on their news programs. There are no winners in a nuclear war, as we know, but the Russians understand that whoever fires first will have the best chance of surviving one, if you could believe that. If our leaders push the Russians too far, they will press a button, and at that point there will be no turning back for any of us, Michael Snyder reports on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon.com. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Time, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News. And he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on the other websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and share his articles on your own social media account is definitely a great help. These are just troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.